Washington football. Woo! Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Burgundy Zone. I am your host, Kyle. I am joined by my co-host, Michael Hall. We will be joined by a couple of guests for this episode. Andy Burrows from the UK is kind enough to join us for this episode. Oi! And then Jeff Miles will be joining us for the second half. But tonight, the title of tonight's episode is Primetime Preview. The Commanders 1-1 going against the Bengals on Monday night. But the Burgundy Zone is a part of the Frederick Podcast Network. You can find out more by going to www.listenfrederick.com. And so we have a long show for you guys. We're going to go into detail about this matchup going against Cincinnati. Because I would imagine a lot of people are going to be writing it off, saying it's not possible that Washington could be in this game. But you know what? That's why we have this show. So we could bring some rational burgundy and gold glasses to the equation. And now we are joined by our other guest, Ms. Andy Burrows. Thank you for joining us, sir. How are you doing?
Good evening, boys. How are we? You all right?
What's up?
Long time no see. It's been a very long time since the last time that we saw you. How was the flight back?
Oh my God! I think I've still got the worst jet lag in the world. The flight back was long. Obviously, we went via Dublin. So I went from Dulles to Dublin, Ireland to London, 2-hour drive home and back to work this morning. So yeah, it's been a bit of a whirlwind, but yeah, I'm okay, mate. I'm good.
You guys are freaking tanks, UK boys. Before we get into going into this game on Monday night, Andy, just kind of talk about your experience in DC over the weekend. Usually I would like to go out at night before the game with you guys. Wasn't able to this year. So kind of tell me, how was the weekend for you guys? What were you guys able to do and see?
The weekend was awesome, dude. Obviously, yeah, you were missed, but hey, family. You got a family, brother. You got a new house and everything. We get that, but yeah, it was awesome as always. We're welcomed with open arms. Obviously, Jesse Martin met us at the airport. We went everywhere. We got to take in a Nationals game this year. So we went to see the Nats play on Saturday. We hit every bar and restaurant you could possibly think of on the Thursday and Friday night. It was just a great, you know what, it's every time I've lost count how many times I've been to Washington, D.C. now. Easily, it's probably my favorite city in the entire world. Just the place, the people. It's a home. It's like a home from home now. Really, got to go to the Air and Space Museum on Monday, the new one, which is incredibly good. Obviously, I went to the old one.
I worked on that.
Did you? I wondered why it looked like it was falling down. But no, it was really good. Went to the museum on Monday, and again, obviously, like the game day experience, it never gets old. Coming over week one, it's just like we saw each other yesterday. You know what I mean? You're meeting up with friends that, I know we only see each other once a year, but we all communicate via social media platforms or text or however we do it. But to actually see everyone again on Sunday in the Red Zone lot was incredible. People make us feel so welcome. We do feel like part of the family. Got to meet up with Jason Wright again. It was good to see him. But just everyone, you guys, the game day experience. We had really good seats again. It never gets old. It never gets old, and we're still undefeated. I thought our record was going this year. I thought the Brits were maybe going to see a defeat, but hey, look, God bless Austin Siebert, and where's his statue going? Just a great weekend, brother. Absolutely love it. I mean, America sometimes gets a bad rap as a country. Some of the friendliest people and the nicest people on the planet, in my opinion.
Yeah, just they're not in this room with us speaking right now, of course. But I wanted to get your opinion before we get into the actual game itself. The seating where we were in 217 under the first bowl inside a lower deck, but we were underneath of the overhang. I honestly kind of enjoyed it. What about you?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good to be in the shade because a few years I've been out in the obviously last year where we were, Carl and Hall. It rained a lot, but to be in the shade was perfect on Sunday. You know what I mean? You didn't have to worry about getting hot as hell. You didn't have to worry about everything like that during the game. The view was great. We had a really good view. We had the prime view of the kickoff return that wasn't The opening seconds of the game, the whole stadium just lost its mind. And then I looked to my left and saw two penalty flags. I'm still not sure if they were penalties or not. But yeah, great seats. Really, the atmosphere around there. I'm glad I got. You could probably mention it now. I'm glad I got a few English chants going in our section, which was good fun. But great seats. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah, so those were the Mara penalties, is what I call them.
Hmm.
The Mara penalty flags. He was like, no, we can't start the game like that. But yeah, the best chant that we started was when the Giants fans were yelling defense, and we were saying "F you," like not
Right.
literally, but you know what I mean, like and going back and forth with them, and that was a good time, man. It was a great game. But before we get into going against Cincinnati, the burgundy and the gold pants. Hall, I want to get your opinion on how they looked before I go to you, Andy.
Yeah, I liked them. It's been a while since they rocked the gold pants. I liked them. I think that it looked better than the all burgundy combo. It looked better than the burgundy and white combo to me. I think that yeah, that should be not like, I mean, I know it's like a thing they just want to do every once in a while. It's not going to be a staple, but I think they
Could
should do
be.
it. Yeah, I think they should do it more times than often. I think it looked good. People look sharp, and like Dion says, feel good, feel good, play good.
Yeah, look, personally, I'm not a huge gold pant guy, fan of the older ones that Bruce Allen brought. Seemed like we just lost every game, got destroyed in every game that we played in those in. But luckily, they got a W on Sunday, so my mind is shifting. I like it, especially with the actual gold. It's not yellow, it's actually gold. It's got the darker kind of look to it, which obviously fits in. I think the burgundy jersey with the stars on it honestly helps out a heck of a whole lot. What did you think, Andy?
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, look, you can't please all of the people all of the time. There were still people moaning about it, but I love the whole vibe. I love the gold pants look. Hey, look, I'm very superstitious. If you want in the gold pants, wear them on Monday. I don't care, find a way to wear them Monday. I was very superstitious when I played soccer over here. If we won, I was putting my socks on the same way. I was doing everything. I loved it. I thought it looked
Not
good. I
changing the
thought
underwear.
bro, everything, bro. I'm the most superstitious sports player ever. Honestly, we went on an unbeaten game for 9 games. The same boxer shorts for 9 games. But I love the whole look. The stadium was incredible. The look, you could see the effort that had gone into Sunday on the field with the way the players looked. You could see I was very fortunate to get into the stadium on Thursday afternoon or Friday afternoon, sorry. Got to look at the stadium with the raised hell outside. The awful FedEx stuff has gone from outside.
Thank
You could
goodness.
see you could see a concerted effort has gone in to make our players look good, our stadium look good. You're not going to please all the people all the time. There was still a few issues that I didn't like. The PA system was goddamn awful. Couldn't hear anything from the officials, but
Yeah, that's what
we
I was saying.
I think that
couldn't.
was like an officials thing because people saying on the broadcast it was like really like light and you could barely hear it as well.
Mm.
I think JP and was like him and John Con were in the box and they were saying like they could barely hear what the referee was saying either.
Yeah, they
So
had to look at. I heard their show on Monday where we were in the car driving down towards the Capitol building, and they were saying how they had to like go to the TV to hear the call from
right.
the official. Like, most of them you could kind of guess. I mean, God, there was so. We'll get into it. I'm sure there were so many penalties that you could easily get into that. But yeah, overall the experience, the team they're really moving in the right direction, and I hope people focus on that more than the negative side of what quote unquote the old FedEx looked like or what the field looked like. I was really impressed from obviously I only go there once, maybe twice a season. I was really impressed from what I saw from the Commanders. You could tell that they had really made a concerted effort.
Yeah, because obviously you offer a kind of different viewpoint than most of people in Washington because they might be able to go to different games every year, right? So, but with you, you're coming like once a year for one game, and so you can kind of see that transformation from a couple years ago by one game at a time every year, and so you can obviously see the difference. And I said on Sunday night, I thought that was it felt like Washington again. Like where
Mm.
it wasn't much of, oh, what's going to go wrong today kind of thing. Like everyone was very excited to see this team play, and you kind of felt it in the crowd throughout that game.
Yeah.
Especially offensively, they had to
The
tell them to
atmosphere
be
was
quiet.
incredible.
Yeah,
The atmosphere and I mean, we probably shouldn't, probably, can we say Redskins still? I mean,
yeah, of
when
course.
that chant broke out in our area, Carl, I spoke to Craig, you met, the
Yeah.
Scottish guy. He had a tear in his eye because it reminded him he wanted his dad to be there in that moment. That's the first time for me. Obviously, I went and saw the Redskins play, but that chant of "Let's go Redskins." I'm pretty sure nearly 90% of that stadium joined in with that. And I've got goosebumps now just talking about it. I had goosebumps all over my body when they started chanting, "Let's go Redskins." And hey, look, we probably shouldn't say it. We're probably getting, people, the team will never admit how good it was. And their name's never coming back for all the people on social media. But for me personally, that moment there with you guys to chant "Let's go Redskins," and hell yeah, I joined in. It was a moment that will live with me forever.
Yeah, when I was standing up, I had to apologize to Kelly and her family who was sitting behind me. She told me it's okay, but I just felt bad, like standing up
I
because you don't know who you're blocking.
I got lucky. I had like the little like cinder block
Oh,
what
behind you,
you
yeah,
call
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, the cylinder behind me, so I could stand up the whole time and be like, "Let's go."
All right, but regardless, we are now on to Cincinnati. That game is
On to
behind us,
Cincinnati.
boys. So, Andy, I want to go to you first. What is your biggest concern? Because Cincinnati, obviously, being 0-2, their offense is somewhat stagnant at this point. They're kind of trying to find their feet, their footing a little bit. What is your biggest concern? Having on Monday Night Football, traveling up to Cincinnati, what are you looking for?
They're going to be mega pissed off after what happened. I mean, I don't know what you guys thought of the call, the flag right at the end of the game on Monday. I was watching it in a bar with Tim Meek and the boys, and we were split. I wasn't sure,
Mm,
if that's the other way. Does that flag go against Kansas City? I mean, we were in a bar surrounded by KC fans. By the way, we found a bar in DC that was the official home of Kansas City. For me,
just
we've
came up
got
4 years ago, just got built.
yeah,
What
yeah,
bar is it? Oh,
yeah,
you talking about because they got
literally
Gary?
just
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
We need to cut out the penalties down in the red. We need to cut them out.
Good
If you
job.
want to stand any chance in this game, they've got to be nullified. And that's something that I don't. I saw Dan Quinn's interview afterwards, and he said, "Look, that's something they're going to look at. That's something they know." I mean, we've just recorded our show, and Scouse made the point of, "Hey, look, some of the onus has to go on the players," and Jesse made the point of some of it is cadence and scheme. But these guys have been playing football since they were God knows how old. Some of the penalties that we gave away on Sunday were unforgivable, really. Cosme giving away three was you. If we go up to Cincy and we get thing is, we don't want to put ourselves into a chance of potentially winning a game or being competitive a game and then letting ourselves down with these penalties. This is going to be the hardest game that we've had so far. I generally think we could surprise people. We could put the ball in the end zone a hell of a lot more than we were able to on Sunday. We were getting in the positions to do it on Sunday. We just couldn't execute. Coming into Cincy this Sunday, cut out the stupid penalties. Try and get the ball. We will get the ball in the end zone. That's no question. I think we'll get the ball in the end zone. We just need to cut out what I call basic errors of football. Them penalties cost us so badly on Sunday. Yeah, I'm worried because they're a wounded animal right now. We all saw the game against KC. They've got an incredible quarterback. Uh, we look at people like Michael. We look at people like Michael David. I'm really worried about our corners. I'm scared a little bit. But in saying that, if you're ever going to have a standout game and say, "Hey, look, we're not coming here to be rolled over. We're coming here to be competitive." I know probably a lot of Washington fans will be like, "Oh God, he's drinking the Kool-Aid again." But hey, look, we've shown promise in the first two games. We've shown snippets of what we can do. Now, can we put them snippets into 4 quarters of football? If we can, we've got a chance of not only being competitive, but really causing a kind of upset up in Cincinnati. Don't just go up there thinking, "Hey, we're going to get smoked," which I've just done our podcast and Scouts was like, "We're getting smoked. We're losing badly." I'm kind of,
No.
yeah, I'm kind of trying to be of the
No way
mindset of,
Scouse was pessimistic.
yeah, I
No
know.
way.
It's like so unlike him and it's so out of character. Yeah, just we need to cut out the mistakes, Carl. Obviously, you guys will get into the penalties killed us on Sunday. Cut them
Yep.
out. You've got a chance.
Yeah, and it's funny because the week before against Tampa Bay, Dan Quinn even said it in his post-game presser. They didn't on offense, or Cliff Kingsbury said it in his presser. They didn't have any big penalties against Tampa Bay. Then they take that major step back going against the Giants, and you can attribute it to a lot. There were a lot of Giants fans making a lot of noise, but that is a fraction of the noise that they're going to hear in Cincinnati on Monday night. So to your point, making sure that everyone is on the same cadence, everyone understands what's being called, is obviously something like attention to detail. The devil is in the details, right? That's something they have to nit in the bud in order to be able to be effective in the red zone on Monday night against Cincy, because defensively they're eighth in the NFL, averaging only 33% per game allowed in the red zone on defensively for Cincinnati. And Washington right now in the red zone is ranked 24th. We are only doing it 33% of the time in converting touchdowns. Obviously, we did a good job against Tampa, but going against the Giants, obviously 0 for 6, it really brought that number down immensely. But I think ultimately, Washington being sixth in the league right now in average rushing yards per game with 176.5, I think that's what ultimately happened against the Giants, where those penalties, the sacks, bumped us out of those rushing opportunities. Because the rushing is what got us in there, right? So for my concern going against Cincinnati, it is being able to continue the offensive output. And then secondly, the biggest concern that I have, though, is getting after Joe Burrow. Because if you can rattle Joe Burrow, if you can make sure that you're keeping him in that pocket, if you're making sure that he's flustered and not in a good situation, not just sitting back there being able to diagnose, making it chaotic for him, then you have the ability to actually get after him and manipulate this game a little bit. So if Washington's going to have a fighting chance, my biggest concern is actually being able to produce the pressure and bring him down. If you're putting them in those long situations, it gives you more of a chance and to help you out a little bit. But defensively, I think third down is also another one, but we have plenty of time here. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, I got two main concerns, and one of them is what you just hit on. I think that if they go out and get no pressure again, like they did against Daniel Jones this week, and just let Joe Burrow sit back there and dissect the offense, he's a top three quarterback in the league. I think Cincinnati passes the ball as far as like attempts goes, like top five, top seven, something like that in the league right now. So
They're
obviously,
16th in the NFL right now in passing yards per game.
yeah, but I'm just talking about like the amount of
I got you.
attempts or like the percentage
I
of
wanted to
like
add a number onto
yeah,
it,
yeah,
baby. Come
nah,
on.
good context, good context. But that's also they're gonna have T Higgins back, so I expect that yardage to also start to go up eventually as the season gets on. He gets a little bit more healthier, but yeah, if you let Joe Burrow sit back there and dissect the defense with no pressure, clean pocket, him and Jamar Chase are it's gonna be like pitch and catch out there. So you're gonna, like you said, you're gonna have to get some pressure on him. I think this is going to be the week where they're going to have to start bringing some blitzes, some exotic blitzes, maybe more than five on the blitzes, maybe
They've
bring
been
like
doing
six or
that.
so. I know, but I'm like, hopefully they can get to like they did to Baker Mayfield and actually finish instead of him.
Fair.
Which also a guy like Joe Burrow who is athletic and can maneuver in the pocket as well. So they're definitely going to have to rush with their gap integrity and definitely collapse that pocket, especially from up the middle. We need more from Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne. I know Khan put out there that they were getting a lot of double teams out there.
A
So
lot.
yeah, which I saw a couple where Deron Payne was getting double teamed by the guard in the center, and then maybe like another chip from the running back coming out through the middle or something like that. So
Yep.
that's a concern, but that's my concern. One of the concerns is the pass rush on Joe Burrow, and my second concern would be it kind of ties into the defense as well. It's the rushing defense up the middle. It seemed like Devin Singletary did whatever he wanted to running up the middle. And obviously, like I said, that goes into Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen getting double teamed. And maybe the linebackers aren't shedding off enough or they're not hitting their gaps or their run stuffs enough or whatever it may be. But it just seemed like Devin Singletary was going up the middle with ease, a lot of runs up the middle, a lot of big gains up the middle. And Zach Moss is a guy that he looks like a thumper, which he is a thumper, but he's also a guy that can put the jets on you and hit you for a 40, 60-yard run to the end zone for like a huge gain, like kind of like B-Rob, where he's a bigger kind of back, but he can hit that burst and all of a sudden get down the field 40, 60 yards, maybe for a score or something like that. So, all in all, I think that the offense has been efficient. Obviously, the penalties you got to clean those up. Got to put six on the board because getting 3 points in Cincinnati is not going to do anything for you. But at the end of the day, I think that the offense, with as efficient as it's been so far throughout two games, I have a little bit of concern so far, but more of my concerns are on the defensive side of the ball with the pass rush and a guy like Zach Moss, who if he gets rolling, that play action is going to kill us over the middle.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That's definitely what they were doing. Bobby Wagner's one of the best linebackers against the run so far this season. But it went into what I said after week one, where they were exploiting Mikey. They would run the ball. Tampa would run right at Mikey, and so they would put a hat on a hat, and the linebackers would have to. They would do their best, but they're going against pro linemen. They're going to cover them up a little bit, and Mikey and the safeties had to come down, make plays, and that's where Jeremy Ching comes in as well. So it's not on the linebackers all. I think Frankie Louvu had a fantastic game after watching the All-22. But I will ultimately say, after looking at the numbers, the biggest concern I think that we all have going against Cincinnati in this Monday night game is third down defense. Right now, they are dead last in third down conversion percentage, giving up a first down on 61% of the attempts by the offense. It's atrocious. That has to be fixed, right? And that's where it goes into bringing Joe Burrow down, be able to get pressure on him to create those longer downs. And that also goes into your point about stopping Zach Moss, right? Not
Right.
allowing.
I will say to Scouse's point, like I could see a scenario where they get down early, like 10, 13 points early, just because the defense is not getting any pass rush or the Bengals are just kind of going up and down the field at will. You get down kind of early like that, and you got to get into those pass all the time type of situations. That's when I think that the offense is going to have some troubles and some problems where obviously they've been based off the run game so far with Jaden, Brian Robinson, and Eckler and whatnot, the screen game as well. But once you start getting down, and it's like you got to pass to get back into the game, and with all the horizontal stuff they've been doing so far, I just think that that could be a bad recipe. So I can see where Scouts is coming from. I don't think that'll happen, but definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
Time of possession will be key as well. If you look at the
Mm.
first quarter on Sunday, we had the ball for 10 minutes of the
Yeah,
first quarter.
I
If
know. I
we
looked
can,
up and I was like, damn, it's only 5 minutes left in the
yeah,
first quarter.
if we can dictate the time of possession, and it sounds simple, yeah, keep Burrow off the field, yeah, easy. It sounds great, but if we can dictate and if we can move the ball, and that's by running the ball, ground. It sounds old school, ground and pound. If we can
Yep.
dictate the clock, we'll give ourselves a chance then.
Great segue, Andy, because right now the Bengals defensively rushing yards, they are 26th on average, giving up 159 over 159 rushing yards per game, and they're second in passing yards allowed, only giving up 128 and a half per game. So to Hall's point, you don't want to be put in those kind of passing situations against Cincy. They've obviously done very well. I know Cam Taylor-Britt had a fantastic and one-handed interception on Sunday. My old man was telling me about it. He said I had to watch the replay. But not to be no more pessimism, all right? Let's get into a matchup to exploit, Andy, for Washington. What's something that they have to take advantage of going against Cincinnati?
Something that and I saw a glimpse of it on Sunday. Someone like a Noah Brown could take the limelight away from Terry. If we can get him involved in the game early, and that kind of shift the focus to, there's been a lot of talk about what Terry hasn't done so far this season. Potentially, you could see someone like a Noah Brown get involved in the game early doors, get some catches. He's really shone on Sunday. Yeah, it was the New York Giants. But if someone like him can step into the game even more, that might open up the field a little bit more for Terry to have more of an impact. And coming back to what Hall said, yet you don't want to throw the ball down the field constantly, and that the game situation is going to dictate that. But I think if you can get someone like a Terry involved in this game, he's been non-existent for the first two games, and we just said on our show. And the good thing about being there on Sunday was I could closely see the routes that he was running, and there were times that he were open, but the situation that it was didn't dictate that we could get him the ball. Now, if we can somehow scheme him open a little bit more on Monday and get him involved in ball, and you can use Noah Brown with that, you can use him on slant routes, you can use him on dink and dunks, and all of a sudden, bam, you pop a pass to Terry for 30, 40 yards, you're in the game, and then you mix it back, then you wind it back and you go into the run game and you build, and again, that's dictating the clock, etc., etc. There generally are ways that Washington can win this game. We've just got to be really, we can't just go there and go, right, guns blazing, let's go three wide receiver sets and boom, 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 boom. Play smart football. Don't try and go there and play Cincinnati Bengals football, because we can't do that. We're the Washington Commanders. Play our own game. Slow the pace down. Run when we have to. Be explosive when we need to, but be sensible with the ball at the same time.
I think the game plan that Washington used against Philly a couple years ago when they were undefeated is the type of mindset they should be going in with. So if there's a matchup that I think that we should be exploiting going against Cincinnati, I think it's their rush defense. Obviously, they're 26th in the NFL. Right now, we're 6th in rushing yards per game, obviously over 176 and a half. I think it's going to be through the running backs. And honestly, that's where I think the identity of this offense is right now, is through the running backs. I think it's funny that everyone's clamoring on Terry McLaurin and everything like that, talking about his separation percentage and everything like that. Like, Terry has never been a separator. He's a contested catch guy. That we have to remember that, and that's one thing that you have to be able to take advantage of. But I ultimately think in the second half of that game, you really saw Jaden Daniels operate as a quarterback. There was one play where the Giants come out in a cover three, and it's a delayed out route, long out for Terry, and Jaden hits him right on the numbers, able for Terry to pick up that first down. I think it was like 2nd and 13. Terry was able to catch it, get 2 taps in, and like that's the sort of thing that we should be looking forward to in the future. When the game slows down for Jaden, he's able to read things. That's when he's able to diagnose and get the ball out of his hands. But if there's one matchup to exploit in this one, it's the running backs. Allow them to sledgehammer that defense to death, and then use the play action off that with Jaden with the rollouts, because we even saw on Sunday how good he was when he's running and throwing. That one pass he threw to Zach Ertz where he's floating in the hole of the zone, that huge first down that he picked up. So that's another thing that we can work into this. So if there's one matchup to exploit, it's the running backs and shoving it down their throat. And I know that they're going to be expecting it too. What about you, Hall?
Yeah, I'm kind of with you. It's going to be the running game just because if you look at what the Patriots did to them week one, it was a whole bunch. It was a big dose of Ramondre Stevenson. And if you look what they had and before he got injured in week two, just looking back on the game because we were riding back from Northwest Stadium, but just looking back at some of the highlights before Pacheco got injured, it seemed like he was gashing him. He was hitting him hard. I think he had like 98 or 60, 70, 80 yards rushing before he got injured, something like that. So he was definitely hitting him up the middle, hitting him on that zone gap stuff. So I would say it's going to be our offensive line in the running game versus Trey Henderson, who is one of the better defensive ends of the league that doesn't really ever get talked about. Always a guy that stands out in their defense, flashes, always causing havoc in the backfield, in the run game and in the passing game, rushing the passer. So I think that Coleman and Lucas or wherever he lines up on the line, that offensive line is going to have their hands full with a guy like Hendrickson and the rest of the defensive line. So I think, like you said, the running game with B-Rob and Austin Eckler and Jaden mixing there as well versus their rush defense and our O-line versus their D-line, I think is going to be the matchup of the game. And to Andy's point, if you can run the ball, kind of keep Joe Burrow off the field, convert on third downs, and keep the chains moving, play that time of possession game, like you said, slow it down, kind of do that Patriots / what we did to Philly a couple years ago in primetime type of game, I think that it'll bode well for us if we can put points on the board, not just field goals.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Last thing I wanted to get into before we start answering fan questions and everything of the sort. Andy, do you have to get out of here? I know you've had a long day. This is probably your third podcast you're recording today.
Yeah, you're right. No, I'm good.
You sure? All right.
Yeah, I'll be back.
Last thing I wanted to ask before we start answering fan questions is somebody that has surprised you so far through 2 weeks of the Commander season, and but that same person is going to be very important on Monday night. Who would you say that would be, Andy?
I mentioned him a minute ago. We just talked about it on our show. Noah Brown, really. I know he's only been here a short while, but I went back and rewatched the game-winning drive today. If he doesn't make that catch, we probably don't get in field goal range. That was such a clutch catch. And everyone expected Dyami Brown to be wide receiver too. Noah's come in, hit the ground running, could really surprise a few people. And he's a big dude as well. You don't get many wide receivers who are absolutely like mountains of men. For me, just seeing him up close on Sunday, I was really impressed with him. Zach Ertz again is going to play such a key role in this game. You're going to, those are that you need this guy to step up. He's been brought into Washington for games like this. Yep. He's here to say, hey boys, I've been there, I've done this, I've had my back against the wall. I'm putting this game on my back and we're going for it. So someone like him is going to play a big impact on Monday night.
Yeah, it's funny because a couple months ago they asked us this sort of question, and I brought up it was Arch who asked the question, like having veteran leadership and what it brings with like Zach Ertz. And one of the things I say, it's like almost like on a construction site. If you're getting pressed really hard by the GCs to get something done, and they send you a newbie, that's not really helping you very much because you have to basically teach them. Like you have to guide them in what they're doing. But if you get a seasoned vet, they send you somebody to help you out. You just tell them what they need to go do, and they're going to go out there and do it for you. And that's what you kind of saw with Zach Ertz on Sunday against the Giants. He was in the spots where he needed to. Jaden was able to find him when the bullets were flying, ripping that ball away, finding that hole in the zone. He's where he needs to be when Jaden needs him. And I think you're absolutely right about that. But the one that I will say surprised me a lot and is going to need to have a huge game on Monday night is Benjamin St-Juste. The way that he played on Sunday, it was hard for us to see who caused the fumble because it wasn't like we were getting a lot of replays in the stadium, right? Like you couldn't really see much. So the fact that Benji is the one that punched that ball out, and obviously there's going to be some that he gives up, and I'm glad that he does it. But going against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, using that length, seeing him get some confidence to him, and I didn't see any of this. And I'm so happy
I haven't
about
seen that
that
all season, honestly.
Yeah. So I'm so happy about that. Let everyone else celebrate you, Benji.
Someone must have like got him hip to the podcast. Kyle was just talking, dogging him 24/7.
So Benji, I love you, dude. You had a killer game. We need another one on Monday night. And because right now you're a saving grace. If it's anyone else, honestly, at this point, we might be in for a long, long night if it isn't for Benji. So I hope Benji comes out and has a huge night because if he did again, making plays on the ball.
You know what? I'm going to blame St-Juste a little bit, but I'm going to blame Janky Rondo because he was on there talking on Twitch or on whatever the stream was with Jamar Chase talking all that smack. So Jamar Chase come out and cook us.
What are you watching Twitch for? You're far too old to be watching that.
I saw the clip on Twitter.
Come on, bro.
Yeah,
Should you be playing Fortnite later?
Yeah. No, they were playing Madden together on Twitter, and he put the clip on Twitter, and he was talking about, we're going to lock him down and da-da-da-da-da. And Jamar Chase was like, just watch what I do. After I do what I do in that game, I'm gonna come back on the podcast and then I'm gonna talk my shit.
It's so funny because my brother, I went and stayed at my parents' house on Sunday night, and so we're talking after I record, and my brother's like, "Oh yeah, I played Curtis Samuel in 2K the other night," and I was like, "Oh no way!" He was like, "Yeah, it was after whatever game that they had Primetime, and he played him." And my dad looks over, he goes, "He whooped his ass." Curtis Samuel on 2K just whooped my brother's butt, and he was like, "Look, man, I just wanted to go against him, but he worked me, bro." But Hefe, are you there, brother?
Yeah.
Jeff, what's up, dude? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Running around. I apologize that I'm a little late. It's been a crazy week.
Yes, it has, man. And I want to kind of talk to you. You had your mural up, and I'm sorry we weren't able to finally meet you at the stadium. Dude, it was chaotic leaving there. We walked out of the wrong exit. They wouldn't let us cross the players' thing, so we had to walk all the way around the stadium to get back to the red zone lot. We had people waiting for us at the car, so I'm sorry, Jeff. It's my bad, dude.
No, it is definitely on me. You told me where to go, and I was trying to go there, but my dad was treating me to that game, and
okay.
With me living in Texas, we don't often, but I tried to walk around, and he's like, "Let's take this shortcut." We did, and they said if we leave this stadium we can't get back in, so I was like, oh man. So that's definitely on me. I should have just stuck to my guns and went around the entire stadium.
Yeah, you got sucked into the Legends Plaza. I get it. But let's wrap up this episode, boys, by answering some fan questions. All right. So Burrows, I'll go to you first. This one from Tony Franchise. He says, "Good morning. I know it's early, but the amount of money on the D-line and the results not matching, how likely is it either Payne or Allen is traded for draft capital?"
We spoke about this on Sunday on the car on the way back. I mean, realistically, you've got Allen and Payne. It's either going to be either or. I mean, realistically, you're probably going to get maybe a third round for Allen. What are you realistically going to look at for Payne? I mean, Scouse and me were chatting again on the bunker that we just recorded. He was of the assumption that Allen just doesn't want to be here anymore. I don't know if that's a contract thing, and a few people I spoke to on the Red Zone lot on Sunday were questioning him whether he wanted to be here. And me personally, I think he wants to be here. I just don't think he started the season as well. I mean, if I had to choose out of both of one of I'd probably go with Jonathan Allen just because you'd get more for him. I think you'd get a third round for him. Payne, we were talking about this on Sunday. Realistically, what are you going to get if you're being realistic? So I don't want to see. They haven't started the season great. But to Hall's point earlier, there's a lot of double teams. So it's very easy to sit here as a fan and go, "Oh, they're not doing what they're supposed to." There's so many things that go into it. As for draft capital, I think, Jonathan Allen, I wouldn't be surprised before the deadline comes if we see him leave the Washington Commanders.
Uh, my personal opinion, you get more for Daron Payne. He's
Okay.
younger. He has outproduced John in the sense of what you've just seen on the All-22, just having the ferocious getting after the passer. But I'm not gonna speculate. I don't know if John wants to be here or not. I don't know what's going on with him. Maybe he wants to go to a championship
There was the whole
contender.
issue. What happened after the first game? Apparently, he just got on the bus. He was in his full uniform. He didn't shout, like, didn't speak to anyone. I mean, we don't know what's going on, but clearly something's going on for him to get on the bus in his full. He didn't get changed. He just had his uniform on and got on the bus. I don't know. Something. It may be a light bulb moment's gone off on him. Maybe he's like, look, I've been here a long time. I want to try something new, and I wouldn't hold that against him, to be honest.
Well, I think that he just maybe didn't handle that loss very well. But as
Yeah,
a
true.
leader, you got to be able to handle that loss like a man. But honestly, I don't think it was based on not wanting to be around the players and everything. I think it's probably much more so about embarrassment. But what do you, Jeff? What do you think?
I think it will be very similar to last year. If we are doing that bad, then this office is going to want to get some more draft capital. You know what I mean? Just like they did with Payne and Allen. I'm not Payne and Allen. Montez Sweat and Chase Young.
Yeah.
If it's very clearly that this is not the year that we're going to do something, or the clogs aren't clicking, then they'll probably try to get more draft picks next year. But if they start to play as a cohesive unit and are making some disturbances, then they'll probably keep them along. I think it's less of where John Allen wants to be. It's a matter of, how it works with the unit. Of course, that plays a factor. If he goes out and says, I don't want to be a part of this team, yeah, obviously, that's a factor. But in the locker room, whatever, there's a lot of stuff we don't hear in the locker room. People know who wants to be there and who doesn't want to be there.
Right.
And I think that this new regime, they know that, and they know who wants to be there. And frankly, they're going to do what's best for the team. And I can't be saying I'm behind Adam Peters 100% 4 months ago, and now it's week 2 and things aren't looking how it is or how I thought it would be. And now I'm just like, oh, I don't know. Like, let's sell the farm. No, I'm gonna trust. If you trade John Allen, I'm gonna say, all right, like that's probably for the best. If not, we'll see. But yeah, I think it's less of who wants to be here, more of is this a cohesive unit that will help us succeed or not.
And I would be willing to say maybe it might not even be for draft capital. If that does happen, maybe it could be for secondary help. Don't know. Based on how the injuries play out. Hall, do you have anything to add, or you want to start the next question?
Yeah, I'll just say that Jonathan Allen has no more guaranteed money on his contract, so he would be the easier one to trade. A guy like Daron Payne, obviously he's younger. If you just watch the tape,
It'd be easier to trade him, but it'd be less in return.
Exactly. That'd be less
And
return.
if Newton hits as well, if Newton comes good,
right.
He wasn't bad. I watched a couple of his reps, and those hands were flying, dude. He did a good job.
Yeah, no, he was. I think he had like 12 snaps or something like that. He was pretty good.
He was on.
But yeah, I mean, Allen would be the easier one to trade because he has no more guaranteed money. He would be a guy that obviously is going to probably be like, hey, I want to restructure. I want a new contract. But with that being said, Payne is the younger one. He looks like the more disruptive one so far. Even going back to last year, he kind of seemed like he's been the more disruptive one since they both gotten their contracts. So I think that they would keep Payne and trade Allen if necessary. But at the end of the day, I just feel like if they're like way out of it, like if they only have like 1 or 2 wins come like trade deadline, I could definitely maybe see them doing that just to kind of recoup some more stuff for 2025 in the draft and kind of build the team out a lot more because obviously they love draft picks. But I don't think that they're going to be so far out of it. And I think that as the season goes on, hopefully they'll be able to cause a little bit more disruption. And, yeah, we'll see. But I don't think it has to do anything about him not being here. Like you said, I think it's just more of – I would say that even going back to the end of last year, he told the Junkies, like, hey, I'm tired of losing. So, like, I could definitely see him being like, I got no more guaranteed money on my contract. This is clearly like a rebuild. By the time we actually get good again, like I'm going to be up there in age, like, and all that other stuff. So maybe in the back of his mind, he is kind of like, hey, I'm just not one door out, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. But I think he's in the back of his mind. He's like, I need more. I need a contract coming up. I know this team's probably not going to give me the contract, so maybe all that stuff's playing into it. But I think they'll be better going forward. They haven't
Well,
been the best, but also
what I would
if you go
argue
back to last,
we need more sacks
I was just going to
and
say
we need
that
more tackles for loss.
you need more tackles for loss, more pressures on the quarterback. But I would also say that it doesn't help if you even going back to last year, that second half of the season without Montez, without Chase, it just made it so much more easier to focus on the guys in the middle because you're not even threatened by the guys on the outside. And that's kind of how it is now, where you're not really threatened from the guys on the outside. So the offensive line can just put all their attention to the guys in the middle. So we'll see.
We'll see. Now, Jeff, this next question is from the Colonel. His question is, Malik Neighbors demonstrated what a top-rated receiver can do to our secondary this past Sunday. With that in mind, what adjustments can we expect for our Monday night contest against the Cincinnati Bengals featuring Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow?
I apologize. I am driving, so I missed the first half of the question. I think it was the signal. What was the first half? Can you repeat it for me?
What adjustments can we expect in the Monday night game against the Bengals?
Michael Davis better not be starting. That's number one. I'm sure he's a great guy. I don't know him personally. What does Reed say? Oh, he's a great guy.
He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
He's a good guy.
But I think St. Juice needs to follow up. He needs to prove that wasn't just a fluke over some nobody receivers. I think whoever number one is, I don't want to mispronounce his name.
Noah Igbinogi.
Noah Igbinogi. I can't remember.
Exactly what I didn't want to do. But he'll probably get the start, and I also don't think it's a coincidence that the first game that Forbes does not start, we get a dub. I wonder what that means. But I'll say, the offense keeps rolling. The running game needs to be fed, just how it was last week. But also, I know we're seeing all these stats on Jaden Daniels on how well he's doing among rookie quarterbacks. I think he got in his groove the second half of that game, where he was less trying to run, which, again, I'm not trying to take away his running ability because I think we need that. But he was staying in the pocket a lot more in that second half. And I'd like to see a little bit more of that because apparently these Bengals cornerbacks have been struggling, according to, NFL analysts and whatnot. So.
Oh, we're losing you, Jeff.
I think those are the, three main adjustments we need.
I got you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Just for a second there, you lost a little bit. For me personally, Colonel, we'll do rapid fire because we're almost at the end of this.
But yeah, those are the three things.
You're good. I got them. We heard those. For me, honestly, it's just being able to bracket Jamar Chase, those mesh concepts, being able to come off using a zone coverage there when they are in mesh. You could kind of see that coming because our guys are running into each other. You can kind of diagnose that, but at this moment in time, based on what we have provided, I think that Percy Butler has done a very good job just making sure you're bracketing Jamar Chase, not allowing him to beat you over top. And that's basically the biggest adjustment you can make. And I think Jeff did a very good job of saying just run the ball heavily and being able to control a time of possession and score touchdowns is what's really going to help you against it. Because, look, they can go to Jamar Chase all day. As long as you're up on the scoreboard and you're getting them to punt the football, you're in a very good position. Andy, this next question from the Colonel, he says, our cornerback woes are evident and easily the weakest link on our defense. How likely is it the Commanders sign a veteran free agent like Xavier Howard, Patrick Peterson, or Justin Bethel to bolster our secondary?
They might not have no choice. It could be like a whole Zach Ertz situation. Bring someone in that knows what they're doing, been there, done it, got the T-shirt kind of scenario. Like you say, you've got Michael Davis better not see that field on Monday. I could probably fly over. He's a nice dude, like you guys said, but not good enough. I think this team kind of needs that. Like I just said about Ertz, you can have the sprinkling of experience with the young guys that we are bringing in. It can only benefit you. So I say, why not? Because we haven't hit on the corners. Well, we haven't hit on corners in God knows how long. I think we had this chat on Thursday on the plane on the way over, me and Scouse and Scott, and we're like, you have to go back a hell of a long time to say that we've had an elite corner. So why not bring in a wily veteran just to bolster and help the situation? Yeah, I'm all for it.
What is the likelihood? I think it's very minuscule. What do you think, Hall?
Yeah, I don't see it happening. I whenever Xavier Howard got released by the Dolphins, or whenever they told him he was going to be a June 1st cut, he was one of the guys where I was like, oh, that might be a good pickup. He will probably be cheap, but he has some like crazy like charges against him. I don't even know what they are, but apparently they're like ridiculous. So he's probably already not even on the list of people they're looking at. But like you said, I don't see it happening unless maybe like there's like an injury or two to the secondary. Then maybe I can maybe see him signing a guy like Pat Pierce, maybe something like that. But like Adam Peters has said before, at this point in the year, you're not really getting better. Your roster's really not going to get better with guys that are still out there, or I say be on rosters right now. So, yeah, I don't really see it happening unless there's like an injury or two that occurs. But we also got Forbes coming back soon, so I think that unfortunately, this is what they're rolling with for 17 or 15 more games.
Carolina has their own defensive tackle woes, and they got one corner sitting there, my boy J.C. Horn. I know that they never let him go, but just saying, they might be dumb enough to pull it. You might just be able to pull it off, AP, just knowing the way he does it. Now, Jeff, the next question we have is from Tim Towner in the Discord. Is Terry at risk of not reaching 1,000 yards receiving this year because he is a clear number one receiver and Jaden is not going to feed him the ball because he'll be double covered every play?
He is in danger of not getting 1,000 yards. I will say that. Can he do it? Absolutely. But I think on the rate he's going now, he needs, what was it, like 200 receptions to reach 1,000 yards on average right now. So, I mean, it's in danger. I mean, he barely made it last year, and that was supposedly a worse offense. So right now, through 2 games, it's not looking good, but you never know what could happen. He could turn up for the next, well, 3/4 of the season. It's only been 2 games. So I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but it's not looking good because basically what defenses are going to do is just double team him because they know Jaden's either not going to throw it to anybody else or just going to take off and run with it.
I'm with you. For me personally, I don't think it's because he's being double covered. I don't think it's because he's only the receiver. I think it's simply because you have a rookie quarterback. Cliff Kingsbury is making sure that Jaden Daniels is keeping the ball safe, not going to put it in harm's way. But you saw in that second half, like Jeff had alluded to earlier, where they're pushing the ball downfield, they're feeling more comfortable with Jaden. Therefore, you get more yardage from Terry McLaurin on that out route, right? So I think that inevitably it's not because he's a number one wide receiver and they're double covering him. I think it's much more so of the situation that they're in and just being safe with it and calling the plays. As we go on further in the season, those numbers are going to pop off for Terry. But honestly, I think if we're winning football games, I don't think Terry honestly matters about his individual stat line. If you watch the film on him, he's getting hyped up. He's happy for everyone else doing something. Just win the football game and Terry will be happy. I think just like John Allen, we just want to have a winning team here, and they'll do whatever they need to get to that point. Now, Andy,
Of course, I want to raise one more point though. One thing we have to realize about Terry was that he really was never a separation artist. That was never really his thing.
damn, you're right. Sorry, we're losing you, Jeff.
He never created a bunch of separation.
You're right, because he was always a contested catch guy. Your phone's bogging up, dude.
Was the contested ball.
It sounds like a 80s disc techno jump.
And what?
Sounds like P. Diddy trying to ring his lawyer.
Oh, man. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. You sound better now.
Hello?
I can hear you now. Jeff!
Oh, man. I'm sorry. Y'all can, yeah, my bad.
You're good. Now, Andy.
The Diddy thing got me. No, I'm driving all over the place.
Sorry, bro.
You're good, Jeff. You're good. Burrows. This question was submitted by Scouse, your boy, co-host, Mr.
Jesus.
Andy Lockhart. Oi! Do you think Jamin Davis is done in Washington after being a healthy scratch on Sunday?
Didn't do too. I'm torn here because I don't want him to be done. I want to try and see the potential, but I hope, put it this way, I hope not. I hope the kid can turn it around because, you don't get to the NFL if you can't play. He's just had he is getting a bit of a bad rep. in Washington. Don't get me wrong, hasn't helped himself. I know me and Scouse have got into this. We spoke about it at the weekend. The fact that he wasn't involved at all on Sunday tells me that they're going to go in a completely different direction. So I think the writing could be on the wall. I don't know. What do you do? Do you keep him around for the sake of maybe just trying to, hey, look, we drafted this guy. We want to prove a point here. I potentially think he could be done in Washington. I don't want him to be. I still think there could be a potential football player in there somewhere, but this is the NFL. You don't get off. You don't get many second chances in the NFL. If you screw up once, you're done. So yeah, I think the writing could be on the wall, mate.
If he got in trouble off the field again, and that's the reason why he was a healthy scratch, but
you're done.
I don't think that he's done just because he was a healthy scratch. I think that he does. Look, I was crapping on him talking about trading him in preseason, right? Like I'm not sitting here like I'm sitting on an ivory tower. I'm just saying that I think that they do see the positives with Jamin coming off the edge, and it's not something that they're just going to walk away from without something in return. Do I think he's done because he was a healthy scratch? No, I think it was ultimately because they were mixing in Johnny Newton.
Yeah.
And as we get further on along the season, they'll probably need more pass rush moves. But let's get on our next question. Hall, this from Yam Sensei. Did Benjamin St-Juste truly step up his game this week, or was it just the Giants? Also, to piggyback off of this, do we expect to see more pass rush in the future with this defense?
Excuse me.
Bless you, sir.
Thank you. No, I think that he definitely stepped his game up this week. Malik Neighbors is no slouch. He's definitely on his way to being like a top 10, top 12 receiver. As soon as he gets like a better, even with Daniel Jones, he's getting like receptions, yards, and whatnot. So, and there was a couple times where he beat us deep. It's just Daniel Jones did Daniel Jones thing. So, no, I definitely think that he stepped his game up. He had a pretty good game. Obviously, the peanut punch was the play of the game for the defense, for the team, honestly. But I wouldn't say for the team, but I would say it was the play of the game for the defense. Definitely, I wouldn't say a game saver, but definitely help for them momentum wise going forward. And what was the second half of the question?
It was, my goodness. Of course, you asked me that as soon as it goes off. Do we expect to see more pass rush in the future with this defense?
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope that with no preseason action between Payne and Allen and some limited reps with Armstrong and Fowler and guys like that. I know the problem with Chase and Montez and the Alabama wall was guys weren't rushing in sync, and whenever they did rush in sync, then we saw a good product on the field as far as like the front four. So hopefully with time they sync together and they were able to rush together with more reps on the field together, and we'll see a better product from the front four.
Yes. Now, the last question we have is from Deluxe, and I'll answer this personally because I want to get into predictions for this game on Monday night before we head out of here from all four of us. This question from Deluxe: running backs and tight ends are known to be a great help to a young quarterback. Do you think wide receiver usage will increase as the season goes and Daniels adjusts to NFL speed and spacing? Yes, this is a great question, which goes back to what I was saying earlier about Jaden getting up to speed. You saw it in that second half, being able to sit in the pocket, find Ertz in the hole in the zone, getting Terry on that out route. That you see the slow maturation and maybe Cliff trusting Jaden more to be able to push the ball down the field. And so, yes, I do think the wide receiver usage is going to increase as the season goes on. But
to your point, I want to just get that in real quick. To your point, I was Dan Orlovsky broke down he was doing like Jaden Daniels film, and the play that where Ertz hit the corner route and stole when he got hit in the pocket and he stole the ball from the cornerback coming down with it. If you look at that play, Dan Orlovsky was basically saying that like he would like to see him hold on. Like obviously he got hit, so like it is what it is. But if there was like no rush and it was a little bit cleaner, just hold it for like one more half a second because you can see Luke McCaffrey kind of breaking open on that post. But he was saying that like 2 games in, a rookie quarterback, he maybe doesn't feel that comfortable throwing like a tight window, like kind of like deep ball or like a go get it type ball for one of his guys. But he was like later on down the line in the season, I think that he'll let it rip because he's going to see that the safety's dropping down and that post is coming wide open. So I do think that to your point, there will be more wide receiver usage. It's just that Cliff has been like what's it called? Spoon speeding? You know what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Spoon feeding.
Spoon feeding, yeah.
But yes,
Spoon-feeding him.
ultimately, Jaden doesn't have eyes in the back of his head, and I'm glad that he did get rid of that ball when he did. You just like to see it be pushed outside more, so they give the ball to Zach Ertz more of a chance and less the corner. Now to wrap this up, let's do the predictions from Monday night. Jeff, are you still there? What's your prediction for against Cincinnati?
I think he left a while ago.
Did he leave?
Yeah, I think
I
he
can't.
got.
I don't have Zoom up right now. My
Yeah,
bad.
I think he got kicked off like a while ago. I think.
Oh, dang. All right. How about you, Andy? Give us your prediction from Monday night. What's the score prediction? Is Washington going to win, and who's going to be the standout?
I don't. I think we're going to lose by a score. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think it's going to be. I think our running game is really going to need to be on point. For me, someone like B Rob again needs to be on point. I think we lose by a score, and I wouldn't be surprised if we did. Like you said, though, if no one gave us a chance going into Philly last season, and the Bengals are a wounded animal. Everyone's like, "Oh, they're wounded. They're going to be pissed off from what happened against Kansas City." Yada yada yada. But hey, look, we could capitalize on that if they don't perform as well as they're expected to perform against Washington, then they could lay a brick. I mean, everyone's expecting the Bengals just to turn up and win. That's it. Done. Win. Just don't even bother. We might as well not get off the plane for the way people are talking. Potentially, I think we lose a close one, but I wouldn't be surprised if we nick it by a field goal and Austin Siebert's going to be a hero again. Let's go 27-23. Good guys.
Austin Powers. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. We're going to win.
My man. I do think Washington wins. Shocker. But I think it is going to be.
Allen hasn't gone 17-0.
I know I do. But ultimately, it's simply just because of the running game where Cincinnati is. Look, everyone could talk. Look, that's loser talk. Saying Cincinnati, of course they're pissed off. They'd be pissed off too if they were 0-2. Fact is, being pissed off Monday night is not really going to help you all that much. You got to be able to contain Jaden Daniels and others, and they have a very good team. They are well built. But if Washington comes in and plays team football like they did on Sunday, you got to learn how to win. And with this team, I think that's what they learned in that second half. And with you having number 5 back there, I think you always have a chance to win. So for me, I'll say yes, they're going to win the football game. I'll say 31-28, which I think was damn near what you picked, Andy.
Yeah.
Well, sorry, fellas, but
Here we go.
I'm gonna have to say that, like everyone knows about the game against Philly, the Monday Night Massacre. I don't think it's gonna be a massacre. I don't think it's gonna be like that. But I'm gonna call this the Janky Rondo game because I think Jamar Chase is about to go for like at least 6 catches, $150, and like a touchdown or two. And I think we'll keep it close in the beginning, but eventually the defense just doesn't have enough horses on it. Like I said, I think Jamar Chase gets loose. If T. Higgins plays, that's just another weapon for us to have to deal with on the defensive side of the ball. Yeah, so I'll go, we lose 27-16.
Damn you. You just
all
got
right,
to bring down my
all right,
mojo.
Scouts. Yeah, I thought Scouts wasn't in.
I'm just trying to be realistic.
And I think Austin Eckler is going to be the one to be able to pop off a little bit in this game. I love Brian Robinson. I think he is too, but I think Austin Eckler deserves a little bit of something. And dude, him being able to shake dudes out of their cleats on Sunday. I mean, he is really playing at a high level. And credit to Anthony Lynn for getting this run game really going because it was crucial on Sunday, and it's going to be for this season. Jaden Daniels, boys, I can't thank you enough for joining us, Andy. You're a champion. I know. I don't know. I don't even want to ask you how late it is right now, and you're still up with us.
I'm in the future. It's tomorrow now. It's Thursday.
Right. Go enjoy your night, Andy. Go get some rest. I know you got to work tomorrow. We love you, man. It was good to see you on Sunday. I wish we could have been around a little bit more, but it is what it is. I can't bring back the past, but I'll make sure next year to be able to come down and hang out with you guys a night or two before the game. It's just not enough time with you blokes.
No problem. Honestly, man, we appreciate seeing you guys. Obviously, like I said at the start, everyone always does make us feel so welcome. And like I say, it's like we all seen you guys yesterday. We see you week 1 every year. But yeah, life happens, brother. Kids, family, it happens to us all, man. That's the most, like I said to Tim Meek, he was telling me about his kids and stuff. And I said, look, football's never going anywhere. Your family, your kids grow up. Enjoy them while you can, because the Washington Commanders, whatever we're going to be called in the next 10 years, football's never leaving. It's always going to be here, but your kids are only going to be young once, brother, so enjoy it.
Absolutely. All right, everybody, that's going to wrap us up for this episode. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm not sure what we're going to do for the game this week. Obviously, we usually record Sunday nights to get a recap because it being a Monday night game. Not 100% sure what we're going to do. Maybe we'll record on Tuesday, or I'll just do a post game on Monday night. I'll update you guys later, but if you made it this far, you're frickin' champion. I'm Kyle.
I'm whole.
I'm tired.
All right, everybody. Have a good week. Enjoy it. Washington football. Woo!
Peace.
What's up, everyone? This is Kyle from the Burgundy Zone. We are releasing our own merch to support the show. If you want to rock the Burgundy Zone logo or you want to see Reed's face on your shirt, we got it. We're starting with t-shirts, hoodies, and zip-up. So if you're a fan of the show, make sure you snag one before they are gone. Check out the link in our bio on Instagram, or you can find the link in the description of the video. Thanks again for all your support. Until next time.